Hi everyone, welcome back to Earl Grey Books. I'm Ellie and I'm here today to finally do my Eurovisionathon TBR for 2022. So, I'm super excited about this. I've talked about it on Twitter, in multiple videos, in multiple blog posts, that I'm just like been preparing for this since last year ended, as in the readathon last year. And I'm just beyond excited, and I'm so happy to be here today to share with you my TBR. So if you don't know, Eurovisionathon was created by Helen from Helen's Book Haven, who is one of my closest friends on BookTube and is just a seriously lovely person, and also just a great readathon host. So, as you may guess from the name, it's about reading books around Eurovision. So we read, or you try and read as many books from as many of the countries that are participating as you possibly can. There are 40 this year. I'm going to link Helen's video down below because obviously she does a much better job at explaining the readathon than I am. But I'm just super excited and we're going to jump into it. So I haven't picked books for all 40 countries. There were maybe about 5 or 6 that I just couldn't find anything from that I wanted to read, or if I could find something, I couldn't find the book anywhere. So for this, I'm going off Scribes, Kindle Unlimited, ebooks that I bought last year and didn't read for this, and also some physical ones as well. I've only bought 2 books for this year, and they were both ones that I was going to buy anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But we'll talk about those when we get to them. Before we jump into the books, I just want to say that in Helen's announcement, she had some cute little Eurovisionathon flags, and I was like, what could I do? Because I don't really have anything like that. I don't really have any like Eurovision decorations or anything particularly European-ish, I say with a literal pillow of Paris back here, but I thought, what can I do? I could wear one of the shirts that I bought in like Denmark, because I love Denmark, and then I was like, no, I will support my own country with some kookaburras. I hate kookaburras. They are the absolute worst. I just hate birds. I also hate tradies because there's one outside my house right now. I don't know what he's doing because, I don't know, he's just walking back and forth with a ladder and I'm like, I think you're confused. You're not supposed to be here. Anyway, we're going to jump into the countries. I will share everything that I have. Apologies about any pronunciation. I did look them up, but it's completely different listening to them and then trying to say them yourself. But we'll jump in. So first up we have Albania, and I should move to the side a little bit so I can put covers here. The English Witch by Loretta Chase, which is on Scribed. I picked this last year, didn't read it. I'm not going to give synopsises of most of these books either because I don't know them. But I'll give a few that I do. Next is Armenia, and for this I have a book of Armenian myth, legends and folk tales, which is on Kindle Unlimited for Australia. I haven't picked a book. I have probably like 30 to 40, maybe even more books on my physical TBR that could easily, like they're Australian authors or they're set here, also by Australian authors. And basically when it comes to the month, I didn't even mention when this readathon is going. I'll have the dates below. Yeah, I'll just pick whatever I feel like reading and I will mark that off as Australia. For Austria, I have In the Storm of Roses by Ingeborg Bachmann. For Azerbaijan, I don't know if I said that right. I don't have a book. Next is Belgium. I have Nowhere Boy by Catherine Marsh, which is also on Scribd, and I also picked last year and didn't read. Next is Bulgaria, for which I have The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. I have an ebook of this. I also bought this for last year and didn't read it. Croatia, I have my first physical book. I have The Hotel Tito by Ivana Bodrozic. I just know that this is set in 1991 in the summer of the Croatian War of Independence, and it's the story of a young girl who I assume lives in a hotel or something. Not really sure where the title comes from. Next is Cyprus, and I have Women and Change in Cyprus, Feminism and Gender in Conflict, which is by Maria Hadipavlo. I think that's maybe one of the only non-fictions I have on here, actually. But I like reading about feminism, and I don't know anything about Cyprus at all, so it seemed like a good in. Next, we have the Czech Republic. I have The Librarian of Auschwitz by Antonio Iturbe, which again I picked last year and didn't read. My absolute favorite place, Denmark. I have The Shamer's Signet by Lena Kababol. I read the first book, The Shamer's Daughter, last year for Eurovisionathon. This is the second book in the saga. And if we keep going at this rate, it's going to take me like 4 years to read it, but we're gonna go with that one. Estonia, I have The Savior of Lasnamäe by Marie Sat. No idea what this one is about. Finland, I couldn't find anything that I wanted, and the ones that I did find that sounded interesting I couldn't find copies of. So at the moment, nothing for Finland, but if you have any recommendations, would love to hear them. France. I was actually struggling with France until I realised that I had The Mad Woman's Ball by Victoria Mars, which is set in Paris in 1885, and is about a ball that is hosted by a women's asylum, and it's short, so excited for that. Germany, I have In the Shadow of Wolves by Alivas Slepkas, and yes, this is, I believe, towards the end of World War II. Last year I tried not to do too many World War II books, but this year I haven't really read any in a while, so yeah, I will read a couple this year, maybe, we'll see. Georgia is next. I don't have anything for Georgia. Next up is Greece. For a couple of these countries, I actually have a few picks, but I'm just going to show you one. So at the moment I have Three Summers by Margarita Liberaki. I bought this one probably, actually I bought it in March. What am I talking about? This is from the Penguin European Writers series. Honestly, I could have bought this series and filled a couple of countries, but this is the one for Greece. Next is Iceland, which I have The Casket of Time by Andri Snea Magasson, which I also bought for last year and didn't read. Are you sensing a theme? Next up is Italy. Again, I have a few picks, but I think I'm going to go with The Beautiful Summer by Cesar Pavese, which is also one of these Penguin European writers that I bought in March. This one is nice and short, and since there is no page count rule this year. I think I'm going to read this. I was kind of sad thinking that there was one, because this would have been like, I think it's literally like 99 pages. I probably would have read it anyway, but very excited that it is going to count and I don't have to feel bad about it. Next up is Ireland, and I have Honey and Issues Guide to Fake Dating by Abdu'l Jagadah. This is Bengali Irish, I believe the author is, and both of the characters. Not sure on that one, don't quote me on that, but very excited to finally get to that one. Next up is Israel. So I have a book that I think might count for this one, but I need to do some more research into it, so not going to show it in case it doesn't count, but there we go. Next up is Latvia, and for that I have Soviet Milk by Nora Ikstena. It's hard because I, for one, don't know how to pronounce these names for sure, and two, I can't really see. So it's a thing. Anyway, I also bought this one for last year and read some of it, but didn't finish it, so probably going to start it again, and it's a pretty short one from what I remember. Next up is Lithuania. So I have Shadows on the Tundra by Dalia Grinkiewicz. That didn't sound right. I also bought this one last year and didn't read it, but I also have, I have all of Rita Sepetys' books, who is some of them which are set in Lithuania, and she's also the daughter of Lithuanian refugees, so if I don't read that one, I might read one of those. We'll see. Next up, I have Malta, Moldova, and Montenegro, which I haven't got anything for at all. Next up, though, is the Netherlands. I like the Netherlands. I have lots of very lovely Dutch friends. So for that, I have The Letter for the King by Tonka Duat, which I also had on my list last year and didn't read, but I'm going to get to it eventually. I believe there's also a movie on Netflix of this, so that should kind of give me a push, because then I could watch a movie. Next up is Norway, and I've decided I would go with The Good Hawk by Joseph Elliott, which is a reread for me. This is primarily set in Scotland, but there's a journey to a sort of, it's like a fantasy historical based Scotland and then Norway. So, Norway. Also, I need to reread this so that I can finish the series. Next is North Macedonia, which I don't have anything for. Next up, I have Poland, which I have Traitor by Amanda Mikrina, and then Portugal, which I have A Curse of Roses by Diana Pincheka. These are the two books that I have bought that I have not picked up yet, but very excited for both of them. Traitor isn't out yet. Waiting for the paperback, but it comes out I think like May 1st, so I should be able to just slip it in there at the end. Next up is Romania. Last year I bought The Story That Cannot Be Told by J. Casper Kramer, and it arrived like literally the day after Eurovisionathon ended. But this author is Romanian, and I believe it's also set in Romania. It's a middle grade, very excited, but also again I have Rita Sepetys' newest book, so I'm very excited about this one, but I also have that one if I wish. Next is San Marino, which I also don't have anything for. Next is Serbia. I have Miss Ex-Yugoslavia by Sofia Stefanok. This is, I believe, the author, now that Yugoslavia isn't a country, what's the word I'm looking for? Identifies, I guess, as being Serbian. She's also lives in Australia now, so hoping I can get this one. Actually, I know I can get this one at the library, so hopefully I will get to that one. Slovenia, I have Angels Beneath the Surface by Alice Steger. No idea what this is about. Next, I have Spain, and I'm going with The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. So even if I don't read all those other ones of hers, I do have this one. This one I'm planning to buddy read with Mel as well, so that should be an exciting time. She hasn't read any Ruta Sepetys before, and I'm super excited for her to do it. Next up is Sweden. I have Bear Town by Fredrik Backman, which again I picked last year and didn't read. Well, we'll see. Next is Switzerland, and I have The Willoughbys by Lois Lowry. This is another one that I bought for last year and arrived, I think it arrived in the same package as the one for Romania. So I didn't get to read it, but this one takes place in Switzerland and is about kids who don't really like their parents, and like their parents are like trying to get rid of them. And I believe this is also an animated film on Netflix. Yes, I keep seeing it somewhere, so I think it's true. Next up we have the Ukraine. So this one I'm reading, it's called Her Stories, an anthology of new Ukrainian women prose writers, and it is translated by Michael M. Naden. So this is definitely one that I'm going to be prioritizing with obviously the war that's going on. Feels like it should be a good time to read some Ukrainian literature. I'm going to do my best to try and find a couple of others that will fit in with Invisible Cities, but this is the one I have picked for Eurovisionathon. If you're interested, it is available on Scrapped. And finally, we have the UK. Honestly, I was going to do the same thing with Australia. I have hundreds and hundreds of books that are set in the UK, but I decided to pick The Ninth Child by Sally Magnuson, which is set in Scotland, because I'm not sure I'm gonna like this book, so I want to read it because like it sounds interesting, so I'm gonna give it a go, and then if I don't end up enjoying it, I will just pick something else up for the UK. Easy. So that's it. That is the Eurovisionathon TBR for this year. Like I said, I will link Helen's video down below, and I think I'm going to work out some way of doing some special kind of vlogs. I don't really know, they could just be usual ones, but I'm also going to just really lean into it this year, maybe make some food for some of these different countries, watch some different things, maybe listen to some different music, and just really immerse myself in it this year. So very excited. I would love to hear what you're reading, if you have any recommendations for those countries that I haven't picked, or for any others. I would love to hear them. This video is already super long, so I will say thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.